Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin.
And joining us this week is a very special guest. They were here before. I don't remember what episode, but it was a long time ago. Please welcome back the one and the only Beth Strandlund.
Hey!
Welcome back. It's so nice to see you. I'm glad you're here.
Good to see you. I'm very happy to be here.
This is exciting. You know, we've got so much to get into tonight. We've got so many things to chat about. It's just, we'll say it up top. Gang, we're going to be talking Stranger Things on this episode. So if you have not caught up with Stranger Things, I mean, you can hang out if you want, if you don't care. But if you want to watch the latest season or any previous seasons, just know we're going to be talking about it. So we'll be diving deep into the shit. So,
We're talking season 1. We're talking season 2. We're talking season 3. We're talking season 4, part 1.
And
How about 5?
Right?
We're going to be giving a lot of spoilers for season 5.
Yeah, because it's
Beth has
happening.
been in communication with the Duffers.
Yeah, she knows.
Consulting with her
She's got their texts. She's in their DMs. She's feeling it. She's rocking and rolling with it, which is super cool. But before we get started, let's get through a little bit of housekeeping, everyone's favorite. So, first things first, come in close. Let's talk to me real quick here. Listen.
There's the one shot.
That's right. You're in it. You're in the one shot now. What's that? What's that? Doug's trying new things while he broadcasts live? Yeah. And will I fuck it up? Probably. And if you're listening to this, you're like, what are we talking about? Check us out on youtube.com/mindgappodcast. We stream live there on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central. I host a video game stream on Saturdays at 8 p.m. Central. And plus, this is where we house all of our videos, all of our shorts, things of that nature. And you know what would mean the world to us is if you hit the like button, if you like what you see here. Hit the subscribe button so you can learn more from us. We are dangerously close to that 200 subscriber mark. Last I checked, we were just like 2 away. So support us. It costs you nothing. It's free. And we'd greatly appreciate it. And to everyone that has liked and subscribed, thank you very much. Thanks for hanging out with us and, keeping the dream alive with that. We appreciate you very much. And, if you like what we do there or you have thoughts about, what we're chatting about, just leave a comment down below. Help the algorithm out. Help people know that, hey, we're engaging folk. You know what I mean? And if you'd like to contribute to us on the monetary side, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/mindgappodcast. Also, check out our merch at redbubble.com. Just type in Mind Gap Podcast in the search and find all the cool stuff that we've got there. And if you do subscribe to us on Patreon, you can be one of the cool people like Tom McIntyre, like Richie Armour, like Zinni, like Slutty Bartfast, like Almighty Crit, all the cool people that have contributed to our cause. We greatly appreciate it. If you like to join,
my favorite Patreon is?
Who's that?
Patron is?
Who's that?
All of them.
All of them. They're the greatest.
Yes.
They are the greatest of all time. And we appreciate all the people that are our patrons. Also, if you'd like to check out our Discord server, the link is in the description down below in the YouTube channel. Come join us. Hang out with us. Get to know the folks. Sign up for game nights, hanging out, shooting memes around, all that cool stuff. We appreciate it. So that's housekeeping. Let's move on to the show. So, first of all, Beth, like I said, welcome back. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Beth, what have you been up to? I mean, it's been so long. I mean, just both like kind of silly since, last time you've been on, but also I just haven't talked to you in a while in real life. How you been?
I'm doing well, enjoying life in Grand Rapids here with Justin and Abby. Loving all the nature here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I'm excited to, be making a trip up to Grand Rapids very soon to see both of y'all because it's a long time coming. So we're gonna come see
I've
y'all.
been regaling Doug with stories of all the cool things we found up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pleasantly I'm surprised with how beautiful it is up here.
That's really cool. I love hearing the stories. I love hearing that there is, a bakery, a local bakery, that there is a shop.
Ice cream.
What? Hey, you left that out, Justin.
I did because Doug, I know it does. It conflicts with your health thing.
But I'm on vacation, brother.
Right.
Come on.
That's true. That's true. As Beth's mom always used to say, you're on vacation. The calories don't count.
That's right. That's very true. So.
All right. So Doug, guess what? We found a really cool ice cream place up here.
Ooh, what's your favorite piece of ice cream? Because that's what you say. You get a piece of ice cream, right?
Favorite piece of ice cream?
Yeah. What's your favorite piece of ice cream?
I like their cookies and cream personally.
Yeah.
When they have it, because they're a small batch place. So when that's out, it may be out for a month.
Oh my God. What is this? Like a barbecue place? Like when they just, ugh. All right.
Actually, that's Beth's favorite is the barbecue ice cream.
Beth? Yeah?
No.
Yeah.
No. I would have to go with cookies and cream as well.
It's hard to beat, honestly, cookies and cream. Like that's a solid go-to. That and like cookie dough. Like you can't really beat. Those are always strong go-tos. It's when you kind of get creative with the stuff. Like when I was up in Galena, there was a what was it? It was crap. It was like the ones. It's like the what are they called? They're like little dessert dishes that have almost like Rice Krispies, peanut butter, and chocolate on them.
Rice Krispies, peanut butter, and chocolate.
Yeah.
They're a dessert dish?
They're like a little dessert treat. They come in bars. You bake them. You can cut them into bars. I can't remember what they're called.
Not rice. Oh wait, like scotcheroos?
Scotcheroos. Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Yes.
They had a scotcheroo. It is. Yeah. They had a scotcheroos flavor, which was really, really cool. And I'm like, I got to try that. And it was delicious. It had little Rice Krispie things in it. It was great.
Oh, if they ever do that at this ice cream place, I am in trouble. I'm going to throw this away and just forget health altogether. And Fit by 40 is going right out the window if they do a scotcheroo ice cream at this place.
Of course. And that's fair. Yeah. Or is it just delicious?
Maybe, can't it be both?
Can't it be both? Can't it be both? Indeed. Well, Beth, it's a real treat having you back here. I'm glad things are going well in Grand Rapids. I'm looking forward to seeing you and hanging out with y'all and seeing the nature that you all have found. And not to mention, also, got to say, the word Banff came up over dinner tonight.
What?
Yeah. So.
What? Am I taking a trip to Cochrane's? What?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you all doing next summer, but that came up in conversation over the dinner table.
Oh boy.
So
do you see how physically excited she's getting right now?
Yeah, right. She's pumped. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I have a hard time sitting in the seat there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I heard such fantastic stories from you all, and as we're getting, more and more, we like to enjoy nature a little bit more too, and all that stuff. And when we were in Galena, where we were staying was, there wasn't a lot of light pollution, so we could really see the stars. And I was telling Natalie, I'm like, look at all those stars. I go, you know what I heard? I heard that up in a place called Banff, up in old Canada, you can see the stars real well up over yonder. And I was like, we have to take a trip up there. And she's like, cool. How long does it take to get there? I'm like, I have no idea. So, but
it's like a 4-hour flight.
Yep.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, but it depends on where you're driving to. Like, if you're hitting just the Banff area, or if you want to hit up Jasper, which I strongly recommend too. Mm-hmm. That's a haul.
Yeah. Did you guys rent a car when you were up there?
We did.
Okay.
They said you can either rent a compact or you can rent a Moose.
Moose.
We said compact.
Oh man, I think you missed out personally, but
hindsight's 2020.
That's right. That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Can I ask who brought up Banff?
Who do you think brought up Banff?
I mean, was it just that? Was it just the star thing, or was there something else? Or
I had mentioned that to her when we were on our trip to Galena, but then Jill and I are kind of like, now that Natalie has her school schedule set up for the year, we were just sort of like planning out, okay, so like we know that she has this days off, these weeks off for Christmas. This is a spring break sort of situation. We're like, all right, so for spring break, we want to go somewhere warm. And then we'll probably, her school goes until June. And then after June, maybe last week in June or something, we can go someplace like for like a trip. And Jill mentioned, international or something. I was like, well, Canada's technically international. So, maybe we could do that. That could be cool,
There is a city called Cochrane just outside of Calgary.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, sounds
this
like a shitty place to go. Probably really practical. Probably really just full of rage all the time, and just, probably somewhat creative. Probably really farty. Probably smells a lot like farts,
When you walk in, when you drive into the town, you just hear
Stuff is stupid, stuff is fun. Dog is stuff.
practical dog.
You know what?
On repeat the whole time.
That's what you're introed into. There's just these giant speakers, and that's what you hear just all the time. It's just a whole bunch of farts. I like it. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, maybe next summer.
I'm feeling like the Cochranes and the Strandlunds need to do a series together.
Yeah.
It needs to be a travel show where
we have yet to travel together. I feel like
And
that'd be
Disney.
a good one to do. And Disney. Yes, we should all do Disney together. I think that would be a real treat. So, yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers, as they say down
as the
south.
kids say.
I don't know where they say it. But, anywho, glad you're with us, Beth. So, let's get into it, right? Like, I brought this up to Justin a little while ago. I was like, hey, man. Well, first of all, I have been... I got to admit something. Like, I kind of fell off the Stranger Things wagon. I originally watched season 1 and loved it. I watched season 2 and I was like, yeah, that was fine. And then when they announced season 3, I was like, I don't need to do this. I'm fine. And I totally skipped season 3. I was like, I'm good. No big deal.
Yeah.
And then when season 4 was rolling around, I'm like, I mean, I didn't watch season 3. I mean, I didn't watch a trailer for season 4 or anything. I knew nothing about it. I'm like, whatever. But then everyone was like talking about it, and like everyone was losing their minds. I'm like, you know what? Why don't I go back? I'll watch season 3. Absolutely loved season 3. I was like, this show is phenomenal. And then dove into season 4. So like I was, all the way through up into it. And if I heard correctly, you two have recently like gone back and rewatched like what, the first season so far?
First two.
We're into we're episode 2, season 3.
Okay.
Currently. So yeah, I will say this too. Beth and I were talking about this in the car yesterday, and we were of the same mindset about season 2 as you were. And after rewatching it, I'd have to reconsider my stance on season 2.
Okay. Tell me more.
It was not as bad as I remembered it. And I think, Beth, you feel the same way?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know look, that one bottle episode with where she goes to Chicago and meets 8. That one definitely is it's a little odd. It kind of stops the story and it feels weird. That being said, the rest of the season is it's pretty good actually. Yeah, I think if you can get past that one episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember how I felt. I don't know. It's been a while since I watched it. I remember enjoying it. I remember because let me like, so my risk. I thought season 2 was very forgettable. Like, especially like I watched season 1, season 2, didn't rewatch them, and then just dove into season 3. I remembered I'd actually watched season 1 twice, so that one still stuck with me a lot.
Yeah.
I watched season 3 without rewatching season 2 or having any of those recently, and I feel like I'm fine. Like, I'm good. I know that, Samwise Gamgee died and by the demon dogs, and I know that, 11, had an emo phase and left, and
Correct.
they closed the portal. So like, those are all the things that I knew. Like,
those are kind of the big 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Those are the big 3 things that happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. So and
we get introduced to Billy and Max.
Right. Billy and Max. That's a good call. I forgot about that. And yeah, so I mean, it was fine. It was a fine season. Like, it was, wasn't terrible. Again, it wasn't mad that I watched it, but I didn't find it memorable, and I wasn't looking forward to going back and rewatching it or anything like that. So,
That's fair. And I don't know. I don't know what you would say, Beth, but I would say I don't think you need to rewatch it.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you were to rewatch it, I think you would be surprised at how much you how do I want to say this? You don't dislike it as much as you remembered. It may not be your favorite season, but I think you would find it more pleasurable than not. But I don't think you need to rewatch it.
I agree. I think I wanted to go back to see if I missed something or some clue that would give me more information about where season 4 ended.
Okay.
So I kind of went back.
Did you find anything?
No.
But
But
my favorite thing watching this with her is that
sorry.
my favorite thing watching with her is that she's constantly, something will move and she's like, was that Vecna? I'm like, Vecna wasn't.
You're like every Marvel or Star Wars fan watching a trailer. You're just going through every single scene, just being like pausing it frame by frame, being like, what's that? Or looking at the poster like for Doctor Strange and being like, oh, is that Deadpool?
Like season 1 when Jonathan took the photo of Barb by the thing and you see the Demogorgon in the corner behind
Looks like
Barb.
Vecna.
And
Looks
she's
like
like, is that Vecna? I'm like, no, that's the monster that was introduced to us this season, the Demogorgon. I was like, you keep in mind, you know more about this show than the Duffers. You know more about it now than the Duffers did then. So Vecna probably wasn't a thing that they were going to introduce till season 4.
Actually, Justin, according to online internet stuff, apparently the Duffers always had Vecna in mind when they made the show.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, they knew where the story was going. The nerd.
Well, I saw some annoying short from Screen Rant. I took the bait. And I watched it. And
Screen Rant. God bless them.
And they were like, there's possibly Vecna was in season 1. And they broke it down by saying that there was, when Will is being chased by the creature, you just see its outline. And its outline just the silhouette looks very similar to Vecna. And when... What's that?
Sorry.
No,
Same thing as that photo with Barb.
Yeah.
The photo, it looks like Vecna.
Yeah.
You know what else looks like Vecna? The Demogorgon.
Yeah, right. Without its mouth open. But their point they made was that when Will goes into his shed, he locks it. He puts the chain on. But then how does the Demogorgon get in? Right. Well, the lock unlocks telekinetically. Right. Because they said whenever you see the Demogorgon, it's out there, busting shit up, acting all feral and things like that. So. But it doesn't have telekinesis, but you know who does? Vecna. Yeah. So they're like, how'd the door get unlocked? And why did it take, right? The Demogorgons just eat people, right? They're not in the business of taking people, whereas Vecna doesn't either. But I don't know, this short kind of alluded to the fact that maybe he does. I was like, listen, this kind of works, right? It kind of does, but at the same time, I'm also like, all right, guys, I think you're reaching here. I don't think Vecna was in season 1. I think you guys are looking at all this sort of stuff. Listen, I think the telekinesis thing is a valid thing, right?
100%.
Because
I think they can be alluding to Vecna.
Sure. Because, Demogorgons don't do that. Everything we see about them is pretty ultra violent. Although I would also argue that in season 1, the Demogorgons are different. They are capturing people, right? They captured Barb, or is it because people are falling through? I don't remember exactly how that works. But.
Well, are they taking? Because the idea, remember that he was eating that. Was it the deer or what? Remember when? I don't know if you remember, but Nancy went into a tree. There was a gate in a tree, and she came across a Demogorgon who was feeding, and then she tried to. So I don't know if the Demogorgons are pulling things back into their world to then feed instead of just feeding in our world.
Yeah.
That might be why.
Yeah. So I'll give them credit. I'll give
it away. That's the whole thing.
That's fair, right? They're very willful. I will say that the unlocking of the door is.
That's suspect.
That's suspect. It doesn't follow with the typical behavior of a Demogorgon. So, but at the same time, I'm like, that's the first episode, and so if that is your one reach where it's like, Vecna was in the first season. It was right there the whole time. No one, we saw it now. It's like, all right, guys, I think we're reaching a little bit here, just a little bit. But hey, God bless them. They want to try and make something out of nothing. Go. Yeah. Good for you all. I fell prey to your trap. So, congrats.
Touche, Screen Rant. You have a click from me.
Congrats, you pieces of shit. But I kind of like to go through and just get first of all, up to season 1, season 2, season 3, heading into season 4, how did you all feel about the show? Were you excited for season 4? Were you neutral? Did you not care? Were you dreading it? Beth, let's start with you. Like, what were your feelings?
I was excited to start season 4. I was curious to see where they were going to take the story and how, I'm very curious to see where they were going to take Eleven's story. Mm-hmm. And then also, I don't know, there's just so many characters now to follow. Mm-hmm. And they're older now. And I don't know, the other thing that I've been curious about is, do any of the other characters have hidden abilities like 11? So I'm curious to see. I was curious to see if that would be something that would be included in the story.
Okay, interesting. Justin, what about you?
I was excited to go into this season because I think they knocked it out of the park with the trailer. Okay. When they used Journey, the Journey song, I was like, I don't think a better music cue has been used in a trailer in a long time. Like, that was like, this has me very intrigued just tonally. I was like, this is dark and I like it. Because coming out of season 3, that was so bright. It was the mall 80, like it was a little bit more like flashy. And this one, you were just like, yeah, this is dark. This is dark shit we're getting into. And I was very curious to see how they leaned into more of the horror side. So that's what had me jived about it.
Interesting. I didn't watch the trailer.
I'm surprised. You still haven't watched it.
I think I went back and watched it now, but I'd seen all of it, so I didn't have as much of an impact, which actually I was like glad I didn't watch it because I went into this season knowing absolutely nothing. I had no images. I'm a psycho. When I watch that stuff, it sticks in my brain. I move out all the important information, all the important stuff that I should know, like people's birthdays, happy early birthday, Justin. Because I'm bad with that. But yeah, I'm terrible. So I move all that shit out of the way so I can be like, cool. You remember this one image from this trailer that you watched one time? It sticks there. It finds a spot and it sticks there. And for me, I'm glad I didn't watch it because that means that everything was brand new. It was exciting. Yeah. I had the full Jared experience where I could just watch it without knowing anything that was going to happen. Nothing, no hints of anything. So everything was a surprise to me, which I really, really enjoyed. I thought it was really fun.
You've talked about doing that before too. Like, and I know you and I have been like, yeah, Marvel Phase 4, we're not going to watch any trailers. And I think we both fell off the wagon on that real quick.
Yeah. I watched, for some of this stuff, like, I feel like, for example, like Thor, I feel like I need to get a vibe check on some of it just to see, like, I think I'll catch a teaser or something like that especially nowadays. It depends on what it is, right? Like, I feel like if Me Now was in the mid to end of phase 3 of Marvel, I would probably be better because, I know those properties. Now it's like, listen, I don't know She-Hulk, I don't know Miss Marvel, I don't know a lot of these characters, so I'm like, I need to, see a trailer to get a vibe of what the show is all about and understand, like, what's this character, what's it look like, and things like that. I was going to go see Thor, Love and Thunder, regardless, and I watched the teaser. I'm like, that's good enough for me. When we went to go see Jurassic World Dominion, happened to catch the second trailer. I was like, well, there it is. Fortunately, it wasn't too much different. I just got a shot of, gore a little bit to be like, all right, Christian Bale looks cool and whatnot. But, yeah, I kind of like... I think it's good to use the trailers for what they are, is like getting a vibe of whether or not you'd like the movie. Yeah. But I think if I can see a teaser and I'm good, I'm like, that's cool. I don't need to see any more. I'm solid.
Yeah.
No more.
I'd be curious to go into season 4 of Stranger Things not having seen the trailer. Beth, you did watch the trailer, right?
I believe so. Yeah,
Okay.
it's been a while.
Do you remember? Well, you might not remember then. Did you remember having any strong feelings one way or the other?
I think the one thing I wanted to know is Hopper okay? Did Hopper live? I think that's where like pull on the heartstrings. Like, did Hopper make it?
Yeah. Did you really? Was there a legitimate concern that Hopper is Loki back in?
Yeah, Loki just busted in my door. Anyway, Justin, continue. I'm going to go shut my door.
Fair enough. No, was there a legitimate concern for you that Hopper was still he was dead?
Yeah, absolutely.
You did not think, like, you thought legitimately like they may
write his character off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we can all agree would have been the right move, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, even Millie Bobby Brown was saying that that they needed to start killing some of the characters off. So I thought, well, I mean, obviously she's saying that now, but
she's pulling a Harrison Ford, like, I don't want to do this anymore. Please kill my character.
You need to start killing characters off. Me.
I think I was prepping myself very much like The Walking Dead when they killed off Glenn. Like, he's such a
spoiler alert.
So I thought they were kind of moving in that same direction of like, okay, Hopper's the fan favorite, so there's a strong possibility that he's killed off. So
right. I just don't feel like the Stranger Things has. I mean, it's a different show tonally, but I also The Walking Dead in their heyday had balls. Like they were like, we don't care. Like, we're gonna kill. They were killing off characters in season 1.
Yeah.
Season 1 closed with a whole bunch of characters getting blown up in that CDC center.
Yeah, a whole bunch of characters we don't give a shit about.
You might not, Doug, because you're heartless.
I
love that one character that I can't remember their name right now.
Right? Yeah.
Has nothing to do with that, though, Doug.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Or Game of Thrones, killing the characters off. I do agree that they need to start killing some characters off, but I don't know. I think let's just jump into some of the plot points of season 4 then. I think a better death than Eddie 100% would have been Hopper. I would have been fine them bringing him back, but then him dying, getting out of the Russian prison. Saving someone. Because again, I think, and I don't know if it was Doug, you and I were talking about it, but like, what an emotional response 11 could have had learning that, oh wait, my dad is alive. Oh wait, no, now he's really like I feel like that could have really played with her psyche a little bit.
That would have been a really awful thing to do to that character. Because I think what would have been interesting would be to put Winona Ryder's character in the position of whether or not she tells 11. And maybe that becomes a big plot point.
Friends don't lie.
Moving forward of, is it something that maybe Hopper told, Winona's character something important? It's like, hey, make sure you tell 11 this. And maybe later on, there's a key moment where 11 is trying to get her powers back or whatever. And, whatever, somehow Winona relays it to him and she's like, what do you mean? She has to make the decision, because if she says it, it'll, give her what she needs, but at a huge cost of, right. She'll be like, wait, my dad was alive and then he died again? Like, she'd now have to carry that knowledge. That's just pretty mean to do to the character.
He pulls her in as he's dying and goes, tell 11 there's a box of Eggos behind the frozen corn.
No! Yeah.
They might get freezer burn.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hopper should have died at the end of season 3. That would have been fine. I don't think they needed to have him survive. It seemed kind of a cheap thing to do, because honestly, and I all the stuff in Russia, I felt like it was just a giant energy suck from the show.
I agree. I wish the whole Russian story would kind of go away.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessary.
Mashable, you had sent us this article, Doug. Mashable had a list of stuff 4 fixes that they wanted to see in Stranger Things. And one of them, they were talking about having that, the whole Russia story, and 11's backstory in the Nina tank being their own bottle episodes. And for those who don't know, a bottle episode is just kind of an episode when there's a larger story arc to a season. A bottle episode is a self-contained one. A lot of times they do it in production to save costs because they'll make it in one location, and that's usually when they've gone over their budget for the season. Other times, from a story perspective, they can use it to just consolidate a bit of storyline that doesn't really fit anywhere else. And so I think it would have been great because, like this article says, they could have, like, how cool would it be of like a prison escape espionage? They could have played with theme. Like this could have been a genre episode where you see like a prison escape episode, and it was real high intensity. And then 11's could have been more of like a character study, kind of psyche diving into, like, I think they could have had fun with those two things if they had consolidated them, but not run them through it as a thread throughout the whole season.
Right. I agree.
I'd also add that, these episodes were, in part one, were well over an hour, like each one. So you dedicate an entire hour to those stories, get them out of the way. Yep. I think that'd be good because first of all, I enjoyed season 4. I thought it was really good. I thought the first part, I hate to even say that. The first 9 episodes or however many there were. First 7 I thought were really, really strong. I actually was kind of disappointed in the last 2. But as a whole, I liked it. I felt like the build up was super strong. There didn't need to be a month-long gap between those two. Yeah. I thought that was kind of a bullshit move. And the payoff for the wait I didn't think was worth it personally. And also, everything that happened, in Russia, especially in part 2, just seemed like it floundered. It's kind of like, oh, by the way, did you know these guys are still in Russia? And, oh, I guess there's something we could have them do. We could have them fight the Demogorgons in a Russian prison because somehow that matters. It's like, or we could just have them go home. Like that would be a better thing. Like maybe I don't know. It seemed just, I don't know. I was conflicted on some of that stuff as far as like how it went.
The one thread that I did like connected with the Russian story or the rescue of Hopper was Murray's.
Murray's amazing.
I love Murray.
Yeah. We could all deal with Murray. If they kill Murray, they're fucking idiots.
We revolt.
Right.
Yes. Absolutely.
Like at the start of season 4, I thought I didn't care about Murray, but once they were telling more of his story, I'm like, oh gosh, please don't kill him off. Like I really love Murray now.
Yeah. He's a great, like that actor is fantastic. He's such a great comedic actor. I remember him from The League in an episode.
What was he in The League?
He played, it was an episode where Kevin, Steve Renazizi's character, realizes that his daughter is best friends with another girl. And,
oh, shit.
And that girl's dad is a guy that he prosecuted and went to prison and sent to prison. And he's like, oh, my God, my daughter's best friend's dad is a guy put away. It was very entertaining. He was very great in that.
Forgot about that episode. That's right.
Yeah, he was really good.
That's funny. Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. I'm curious, Beth, you were saying you wanted the Russian thing to go away. Do you mean like just in season 4, like Hopper in prison in Russia, or just anything to do with the Russians? Like you just kind of want Russians out of this story.
I can see why it's a part of the story because it was such a part of the 80s. But I just wish they would have found a way to kind of tighten up the story. It just felt like there was just too much emphasis on that part.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree too that, Hawkins at this point, when you look at the overall arcing story, it's like, you can't keep all this shit covered up, man. Like all the stuff that's happening, all the disappearances. Like, for them to, at least they kind of acknowledge it. Like, we think Hawkins is cursed. It's like, yeah, man. The amount of government officials that are so interested in this small Indiana town, like, what the fuck, man? Like, how many disasters are going to happen before people are like, wait a second, Like, I understand it's the 80s.
And it's Indiana.
It's Indiana, but still, it's like, Jesus Christ, like, we're going to do anything about this? Like, the fuck?
Yeah.
I do like the Russian storyline in season 3, though. I like how it plays into the whole mall story.
That was pretty cool. I agree with you. Like, it was kind of neat to see that play out because it definitely was better. I think part of the problem for me in season 4 is that there's so many moving parts. You know, you've got
Yeah.
what's going on with Hopper, and then also kind of connected to that is Murray and Winona Ryder's character, right? So you kind of got multiple stories there. You've got what's going out on the West Coast with
Right.
Will and his brother, and then when Mike goes out there, and then ultimately kind of separate from that, and also kind of combined as 11 and what she's going on with that stuff. But then you got what's going on in Hawkins, and within Hawkins, you've got, you know, all these other characters that have sort of their subplots moving and things like that. It's a lot to. I commend the Duffers and everyone that worked on this. Like it was a lot to manage, and I feel like they managed it well, but it also felt unnecessary because right when I felt like the momentum was really moving, it's like, and now let's go to Russia. I'm like, come on, no, stay here, please stay here.
That's what I think I'd said that to you, Beth, where you were like, after we watched the first two episodes, you're like, all right, so what do you think so far? I'm like, honestly, I'm on they could either win me or lose me on this season, because that there was just, I felt like episode 1 for sure, and even episode 2 just moved at such a breakneck speed. And I found myself, and I'd like to think that I'm pretty good at following a story that's told like that. But even I was just like, man, like this is, where are we now? And who's doing this? And I'm like, they've got, 10 different storylines going in one episode. This is insane. But then they ended up slowly merging and slowly bringing them together. And I think at the end of the day, it was organized chaos. They knew what they were doing. So I commend them for that as well.
I think that's a fair assessment. I think that it was kind of tough for me. I think one of the tougher things for me with season 2 is that Mike was such a main character in season 1, and then in season 2 he took like a pretty big backseat, and he kind of has each time for some reason. For whatever reason, I'm like, yeah, but what? I feel like the West Coast stuff in season 4 just was, again, it's like, and they're driving. It felt like Lord of the Rings. It's like, and now they're walking, and they're walking some more, and they're on their way. They're in the van, and they're going. They're trying to find this place, and they're going.
An insert lead joke.
Yeah,
just like Lord of the Rings.
There's a high guy, who's talking about, whoa, check this out, bro. We're gonna go and do this, man. And I don't know. It was. I found, like I said, first part of season 4, I was like very into, because I was like, where's this going? Like I was very invested in where it was going. I thought the reveal, I loved the episode that revealed who Vecna really was. I didn't see that coming at all until like 5 seconds. I was like, oh shit, that's Vecna. Like it finally dawned on me what was what and what had happened. And
it took me a moment.
Yeah, I was like, huh? And I thought the lead up to that was fantastic. Like everything was going great. And then, they're like, cool, we're going to take a month off. Then we're going to come back and you'll see part 2. And then when I watched part 2, I don't know what my expectations were, but it felt, I don't know. Something about it just felt like, I guess kind of going back to what we're saying is there really didn't seem like the stakes were that high. They did and they didn't, in the sense of,
That makes sense. Yeah.
I was sitting there just going like, is anyone going to die? Like I feel like there should be more than one. Like Eddie dying was disappointing to me. There was an article that we read from the Nerdist that said, Stranger Things 4 death isn't noble nor necessary. And it really did a good job. It's written by Rodem Rusak, and they did a really good job talking about breaking down how Eddie's death was really kind of a missed opportunity, because Eddie, to summarize the article, is that like Eddie is the other in this world, in this town. He is the leader of Hellfire Club for D&D. He's treated strangely. He's, no one really likes him. He's the outsider. He sells drugs. He's a musician, which is weird because I feel like 2 of those 3 things should make him the cool guy, but I guess this is the 80s, so it's different. Because he can play the guitar really well, and Metallica no less. Like, I feel like that should be his jam. But I think, that also talks about him being the other. He's blamed for this crime that he didn't commit. He is surviving, which is different than running away. They make the clear distinction of that in this article, that Eddie is a survivor and he does what he needs to survive. And when he finally, decides that he's going to sacrifice himself. Even before reading this article, that felt weird and forced to me because it felt like he didn't necessarily need to do that. And it felt like his sacrifice was in vain because did he buy time? I don't know. It's debatable. Do you think he really bought time and saved the day? Because when he's like, I'm going to go buy time, I'm like, you don't really need to. Like, yeah, I mean, how much longer did he hold off those bats? I mean,
I don't think they would have. And I don't, Beth, I don't know what you think about this, but I don't think they would have been able to get in the house. I think the bats were circling the house, and I don't know if those kids would have been able to get inside. Yeah.
I'm having a memory lapse with that part of the story.
Because they were distracting them over in the trailer park.
Okay.
So playing Master of Puppets and stuff like that, and then they were fending them off at the trailer, and then like they were starting to come through, and then they were going to run back into the other dimension.
That's right.
But then
and he stayed.
But then he ran out and like had them chase him and stuff like that, and then he fought him off. So I guess he bought a few more minutes, but I feel like him making the decision to do that, I don't know, it just felt empty. It didn't have the impact for me that.
Oh, you were saying when he ran out of the trailer to save Dustin, not when he was playing the guitar solo.
Yeah, guitar solo was awesome, fantastic,
okay.
incredible. I'm sorry.
I'm like, he bought time by pulling the
he literally played Master of Puppets. Like it's one of the most memorable scenes of the show. Like, no, I'm talking about like when he runs out, he gets on his bike and rides away. I kind of knew in that moment, I'm like, oh, he's going to die. But I'm like, this isn't going to have the impact that, you know, I want it to have, you know? What did you guys think about that?
Well, I don't know if this is along the same lines, or even looking too far into it. I do think Eddie's death was shown very well artistically, because I feel like him being killed by the bats is very similar to the amount of criticism and judgment he would have handled from Hawkins if he would have survived. Like there was no way out for him. Like literally, like I think he would have been killed or murdered if he would have made it out of the Upside Down.
Like the people of Hawkins would have swarmed him, just like the bats did. So either way, he saw the same demise.
Yeah. Is that is that along the same line? Is that kind of?
I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, I would say like from a I'm blanking on words again. My brain decided to piss off. Doug, you say words.
So, Pinochle. So I'll just steal the moment. I'll steal the spotlight for a second here. So kind of what they mentioned in the article, it says that, ultimately Hawkins surviving while Eddie ends undercut Stranger Things' strongest idea. For a minute in Volume 1, it seemed like the narrative was shifting to reveal that humans are truly the most nefarious evil, that small-town conservatism and hatred is the real enemy, one scarier than anything from the Upside Down, which I loved in this show. Like, the things that kind of get to me a lot in shows like this, things like The Mist, that movie, and whatever, is the fear and the mob mentality that takes over. Like that is a true, as we've seen on January 6th, how a mob can really turn and be super destructive. I find that is one of the like psychological terror where people get riled up and what they turn to in the moments of panic. The Mist and this show really kind of tap into that. A lot of it's religion. People tap into what brings them comfort. A lot of time it's religion, and the religious folks, when they show this stuff, like they just go on a witch hunt is what essentially is what they do, which was very terrifying. So I did appreciate that was, I felt like that. I'm like, oh, these people could be just as bad, if not worse than Vecna, as far as like what they're trying to accomplish here.
Absolutely.
Instead, a villain that Kate Bush's music cannot be chased away, nor will experience full defeat. But that story arc simply melted away, reframed into more of a Bad Apples plot line centered around Jason and his jock friends. The town itself morphs back into something precious, something that needs protecting, the destruction of which should make us feel sad, but anyone who is othered has not forgotten how quickly everyone rose up to band against Eddie and Hellfire. That hate was there, and it is still there, and in a sense, it triumphs. The town gets what they wanted. Eddie is dead at the end of Stranger Things 4, and they go on.
Yeah.
Right.
And I felt that was a really powerful way of looking at it. I think I couldn't, at the time, I was just like, his death felt hollow to me, and I couldn't figure out why. And I think that was part of it, because somehow the town got to win, you know? And, you know, but the part where, you know, the kid's like, I wish the town would have gotten to know Eddie. They did get to know him, and they chose to, you know, to judge him and keep him as an other and stuff. And yeah, it felt kind of shitty I was like, listen, there's a lot of other characters you could have killed off that I think would have had, or that could have sacrificed, that could have done, you know, there's a lot of moments where things fell short, like with the plan, like where the three characters that were going into the house to shotgun him or whatever, like whatever was happening with them, I was like, okay, cool. So they got tangled up in some weird hentai, and then they just got held there while other people did other things. And they show up, they shoot him a couple times, they throw some Molotov cocktails. Like, it was very anticlimactic for me. Like, it didn't have the effect that I was hoping it would have, as they were going to sneak in and fight this guy. And even the fight with 11 and Vecna, I thought was a little like, it was okay, I guess. I don't know. I guess that was my thing, is the resolution to the end of season 4 did not meet my expectations. And I couldn't tell you what my expectations were, but that wasn't it.
Well, I think so. Symbology, or symbolism rather, was the word.
There you go.
Yeah. So I was, every time, have you seen Boondock Saints?
Yeah, once.
Okay. So I loved that movie. Watched it an insane amount of times. There's a line in there where someone goes, so what's the symbology? And then they just make fun of him. So every time I'm going to say symbolism, that line gets stuck and I always say it wrong.
There you go.
That's that story. So the symbolism, I think, is the word I was going to go for. But I think, Beth, to your point, the symbolism of his death, or what the bat symbolized, I think I liked that connection. If he was going to die, I thought that was a creative way to tie in what you had said, like he wasn't going to escape it either way.
Right.
But that being said, I do agree that it was a pointless death. It was really anticlimactic. Now, Doug, to your point about what you were expecting, I think the hard thing, and this is where I think I'm surprised that Marvel did it so well, because there was a 50-50 chance that they were just gonna whiff when they brought out Endgame, is that when you are building up to this giant climactic thing, expectations are at their highest peak. And as we all know, expectations breed disappointment. Anytime you have an expectation on something, you may as well be prepared to be disappointed, because so rarely do our expectations get met. And so I think whatever the battle between those two is going to be, it was going to be a really tough thing to make it as epic as it was being built up to.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
also,
yeah.
if you are a nerd like we are, and we knew that there was one more season coming, you could kind of assume that they were going to Infinity War Endgame this, where there wasn't going to be an epic battle. You know, that was going to be a little bit of anticlimactic. The hero, all hope is lost at the end of this one. So I think the resolution on this one is exactly where it needs to be going into season 5, because this is following essentially Infinity War Endgame story structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
No?
I mean,
Beth, what do you think?
Yeah. Beth, help us understand.
I can't help with the Infinity Endgame.
It's not what I hear. It's not what the word on the street for me is.
What's
Basically,
that?
Infinity War, they set it up where the heroes had lost, which set up the next film where the heroes overcome the ultimate. All hope is lost, and the heroes overcome that. I feel like this is following the same story structure as that. Like they fought. We still lost, and now we have one more season to make it up.
I would have to agree, I guess, agree on a basic level, because I don't know it as deeply as you.
I know we're super nerds.
I don't remember birthdays, but I can tell you all about the Infinity War saga. I can tell you all about it, because priorities, you know?
I'm just saying, I think that I wasn't overly disappointed with the end of this one, because I fully saw this end coming. I knew this is how they were going to end this season. So I wasn't disappointed, because I expected it. That's personally.
I'm trying to articulate my disappointment. I don't know if I can yet.
In me or in the season?
I mean, Justin. Segment called "Why I'm Disappointed in Justin" is coming up soon. So
and we have a theme song for it.
we do. It's called. No, I don't know what it was. I don't know. I guess the expectation leading up to it, and I guess I was waiting for, some sort of end game situation where or a Lord of the Rings situation where all the components, all these different parties, these groups working together, were going to have a really strong meaning. And I don't know if it necessarily did in a lot of ways. Like that's the thing that's beautiful about Lord of the Rings, is that if they have so many characters that are working in tandem that don't even know that the other groups are alive, but they still believe and they move forward, and because of that they're able to triumph, which is really pretty powerful. It deals a lot with just believing in your friends and things like that. And with this, it kind of happens, but at the same time, I don't know. It just seemed kind of slapped together. And maybe it was just the way it was cut or something about it. I don't know. Like I sound like I'm shitting on the season. I really enjoyed it. I just found the last 2 episodes to be lackluster, and I thought the end of part 1 was phenomenal. Like I was jacked. I was like, oh shit, where are the next 2 episodes? Show me these next 2 episodes. I want to see them right now. And then I wait a month. And that's also my problem too, is I tend to cool off on these things. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that thing is here now. Like either make me wait 1 a week or give it to me all at once. Don't make me wait long periods of time in between stuff because I lose interest. Like, I don't know when season 5's coming out. I'll probably be excited, but I'll also probably be like, oh right, Stranger Things, they're coming. That thing, it's on its way. But I don't know. Right. I think you're right. I think they are setting it up. The world is not great. There's problems.
Well, they're not problems. The Upside Down is bleeding into the real world.
Justin, inflation is something that will eventually go away. All right. And this is just really an allegory for our economic situation. And, Vecna is late stage capitalism. That's really what this is. And it just sucks us dry and opens the door to hell. So there you go. And listen, things aren't great. All right. The world's a little dusty now. We got to deal with some climate change. It's True. Happening, True. And I mean, a boy melted in lava. He deserved it. Also, what a really anticlimactic way for that piece of shit to die. He's like, I'm laying on the exact spot where the world's going to split in half. Like, I melted. It's like, really? That's how, that's how he goes out. He goes out like that. That's some bullshit, man.
Yeah. I wanted to see him suffer just a little bit more.
Yeah. I wanted to see that. But yeah. I wanted to see that guy, I wanted, what would have been great is if Eddie had somehow saved him, right? And then
that would have been
and
good.
then Jason shoots him and kills him. That's what you call an emotional roller coaster, right there.
Now let me ask this: would this have justified Eddie's death if Eddie did come out? Maybe Eddie shot through the crack that opened up and pulled him out of the way. And was like, I made up for it. And then a Demobat came up and killed him. And then Jason evangelized him and preached and said, Eddie actually was a good person. And Eddie's name got, cleared. Would that have then made Eddie's death okay?
That's a tough sell for me.
Okay.
Because I don't believe.
I mean, look, it's a horrible, horrible pitch.
Oh, of course. But I mean, yeah, I think part of the problem there is just that there's no way that Eddie makes it right with the town. There's no way.
I agree.
They're set in their ways. They believe their truth. Nothing's going to change their mind. No act of goodwill or anything explaining. My favorite part of that, too, is when Jason the jock walks in on Max getting, demonized, and he's just like, what the fuck is this? And the kid's like, hold on, let me explain. It's like, there's no explaining this. This is going to fit his narrative. It's like, demons are here.
Right.
Look at this girl floating in the air. like, what the shit is happening? Her arms are turning around. Like, this is some demon shit, and you're a part of it. Like, it's 100% is confirmation bias. Him saying this is like, yeah, okay, whatever. Y'all are fucked up. Like, this is some bad shit you guys got going on here. This is the Hellfire Club for sure. So, yeah. The town's not going to change their mind on anything. You know, like,
I just wanted to see if there was.
I love that you did. I love that you theory crafted that because it got me thinking. What would it take to have Eddie's death mean something? And I think the answer is like Eddie shouldn't die. I think really Eddie should survive if we're kind of searching for justice here. Maybe he doesn't have a happy ending, so to speak, but if he survives through this and the town will never love him ever again, but he finds peace somewhere else, he moves away, you know, or whatever. And one of the things I do like about this show, kind of talking about like Max's trauma with all this, I feel like was one of the first time we've seen the show where someone is dealing with the aftermath of everything that they've been through. Like, these kids, surprisingly cool for all the shit that they've seen, right? Because season 1, as children, see a Demogorgon. One of the kids is stolen by this Demogorgon, and his death is faked. His death is faked by the government. All right? They go back to school the next year. They dress up as Ghostbusters for Halloween. They wander around. More shit happens. This kid gets possessed by some sort of fucking smoke. You know? Season 3, we're like, cool, let's go to the mall. The mall's a cool place. Wild shit comes out and tries to kill them there, and there's Russians. These kids are remarkably normal.
Yeah.
Given everything that they've seen. And poor Max is the only one that's like, I had to watch my brother die literally in front of me, and he kind of saved my life. And even though he was a huge dick to me, and really my half-brother from an abusive, household, like, I still feel responsible. I still love him. And I'm dealing with the trauma from that, and there's been repercussions. And this other kid's like, hey, I made varsity. That's pretty cool. Everyone else is like, let's play Dungeons and Dragons. It's like, how can you all function without therapy? I mean, I know this is the 80s and shit like that, and people are like, I mean, they can't even tell their parents. Their parents don't even know. Like, the only adult that actually knows what's going on is Winona Ryder and Hopper. And like, everyone else is like, I don't know, man. Like, like, this is crazy to assume that these kids are like, yeah, we're fine. Everything's fine. Brother and sister from the same family. Crazy shit has happened. They don't talk about it. Not even to each other, it doesn't seem like.
Right.
It's like, I gotta go to college. I'm gonna be a journalist. It's like, okay. You want to write about the crazy shit you've seen in your hometown? Dear God, like, how are these kids even functioning? It's amazing they even, graduated to high school, It's incredible. But I digress. How are you guys doing?
I agree. I agree with it all. Beth and I also talked about, though, Caleb McLaughlin and Sadie Sink, who played Lucas and Max, were fucking snubbed by not getting Emmy noms because their performances this season, I honestly, like, those were two of the strongest performances I think I've seen in a long time. They killed it this season.
Yeah, I think the acting in general was really, really solid in the show. Like, I was 100% engrossed. Like, I think David Harbour does wonderful. Winona Ryder was great. Millie Bobby Brown's excellent. Like, everyone, just the kid who plays Will, awesome. Like,
no, Schnapp, yeah.
Like, I don't know any of their names. I'm just like, this, thank you.
You said Millie Bobby Brown. You got at least that one.
I said David Harbour. That's a good one. It's like, Finn Wolfhard. Yeah. That's a hard name to not say. There's what, Gaitan? Gaitan Maserati.
Not, yeah. Vroom, vroom.
Yeah, there we go. Boom.
So I'm curious. I want to hear each of your, let's stack rank these seasons. Which seasons, because this is the biggest thing we used to do with Star Wars, right? Is what order were the best ones, and I like to hear which, if you're gonna put it from best to least best. I won't say worst, but just top to bottom, favorite to least favorite.
All right, here we go. 1, 3, 4, 2. Next.
1, 3, 4-2. So you put 3 over 4. Interesting. Okay. All right. They right. Beth, where are you at with that?
Still chewing on it. 1, 4, 3, 2.
I think I'm in the 1-4-3-2 camp myself, but 3 and 4 for me are at a dead heat. So 1 and 2, 1 at the top, 2 at the bottom for sure. Because 1, there wasn't anything like this when it came out. Like this was not only did it like just set fire to the pop culture, landscape, it was just a great unique story. It was fantastic and wonderful homages to all of us who grew up with those movies and with that lifestyle of the 80s and stuff. Like that was what a great homage. And then 3 and 4 were both really good. So I think I'm in the 1-4-3-2 camp.
I feel like also I'd like to add that this show is so well filmed. Like it's visually very, it's very pleasant to look at, and also the music choices that they use, that they weave in. Twice they used, Peter Gabriel's version of Heroes in the show. They did it in season 1 when they find Will's not dead body. Which, what a powerful scene. That scene still sticks with me to this day, where that song's playing in the background, which is just a beautiful version of that song. And, you got a bunch of childhood friends who think they see their best friend dead. Like, which also, talking about trauma. I mean, come on. Like, we're just going to ignore that. They're like, I thought my best friend was dead and the government lied about it. I mean, these kids should trust absolutely nothing. These should be the kids that grew up today. They'd be like, 5G, man, it's going to get you. It's going to get you.
And then can we give it up for Kate Bush?
Kate Bush, like what a fantastic way to use that song, integrated with original score. Master of Puppets was also a nice touch as well. Which, by the way, did you see that the girl who plays Max was playing drums to Master of Puppets?
No.
Yeah, she cut a video of her nailing it. Just like, I'm like, I didn't realize you're a drummer, and she's fucking killing it. It was awesome.
We're gonna watch that as soon as we're done with this podcast. Yeah, I'll tell you that right now. It was
amazing. I was like, you're fucking great. Way to go.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, what do we want to see in season 5? What's
I want the show to end, and I mean that in the best way possible. This show needs to end.
They've committed. Season 5 is the last one. They always said from the beginning, we have 4 or 5 seasons for this.
Yeah, it needs to stop. Like at the end of every season, I'm like, okay, guys, wrap it up. Like this, just logically, it can't keep going. We can't keep having this shit happen to these people. And this, like, we've got to find a way for this to end. So now I think that we kind of have the official big bad. Like, let's put it away. Let's have it end. Let's take it easy on the lovey-dovey shit as far as what's going on with what's her face and the 2 boys that like her. Like, come on, let's fucking knock that shit off. Like, I'm with Mashable on that one where they're like, hey, Kate Bush, Nancy, not Kate Bush, Nancy, she's more than just a love interest. Like, let's not bog her down with lovey-dovey bullshit. Like, let's get her focused and whatever. It's fine. This is your normal relationships, but not so it's like, oh, is she going to be with Steve or not? Who gives a shit? Fucking knock it off. Like, let's move on here. And I guess people got to die. This has been a word from Doug. On to you, Beth.
I kind of want Will Byers' story resolved.
Yes, good call.
We've been following this since season 1, and I don't want him to be terrorized by the Upside Down anymore, or possessed by them. Like I was saying to Justin earlier, I'm like, I wonder if he's kind of like a Horcrux, very similar to the Harry Potter story. Like, will they have to kill him in order to end the Upside Down? Because I feel like I don't know, he's like a walking antenna for the Upside Down, and so yeah.
Or is he their greatest weapon because he can sense it? He knows when they're close.
That's true.
But season 2, we already found out that the Upside Down used him as the spy. He's no good. He's unreliable.
Yeah, but same thing happened with Harry Potter in the Order of the Phoenix, right? Like,
he learned how to control it.
He learned that eventually, that connection served their purpose in the long run. So maybe just maybe.
Yeah, I
do agree, though. I think Will's story needs to be
resolved.
Something needs to happen there.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm going to be very curious to see. I don't necessarily know if I want this, but I'll be curious to see if they go this route. Because one of the things that Duffers talked about is that in season 4, when they're in the Upside Down, Nancy goes for her gun, and it's not there.
Right.
And she's like, huh, and they realized it got frozen in time when Will originally got brought into the Upside Down. And the Duffers said that is going to be a key plot element. Like that is going to get answered as to why that happened in season 5. So I'm curious to see is when they finally defeat Vecna and they end the Upside Down or close it or whatever it may be, is everything that the Upside Down did going to be undone? Will Barb walk back through the front door?
No. Barb's dead.
So?
She's super dead.
I'll never stop hoping.
I mean, you can. She's like super duper dead. We saw her body. She dead.
I'm just saying. Saw her body in the Upside Down, Doug.
Yeah, with a fucking snake or whatever coming out of it. Like,
yeah, but I'm just saying, it's
listen, when you die in the Upside Down, you die in real life. Okay? Matrix rules.
Fair. So we'll see.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see, Justin. We'll see. Don't you worry. We'll see.
Doug, I don't know which theme song I need to go to.
Yeah, you do.
Do we have it? Because it's not in the thing.
No. Well, I mean, it's not official. We have to decide probably right now. But
Welcome to the Throwdown.
Welcome to the Throwdown, y'all. It's time. If this is your first time here, what are you doing? Welcome, I suppose. This is the segment of the show where we put two things into an arena and we decide which one would survive a battle to the death. And this week, in honor of our topic, we have a couple to choose from, and I think because the council was like, listen, it's hard to choose. Here's a couple to choose. They're gonna let us choose, Justin. I think perhaps of the three that Slotty gave us, I like the one that you liked, and perhaps we could give that one a whirl. So this week's Throwdown is 11 versus Hermione Granger.
Oh,
Wow.
So I'll say this. Hermione's at a very big disadvantage here.
Do tell.
Because she has to use a wand to cast magic, and we've seen 11 tilt her head and people's necks snap. So.
But do you think Hermione, you can cast spells to protect yourself from initial hits from things? Those spells might wear off, but it might buy Hermione just enough time.
That is very true in that it depends on what she...
I just feel like Hermione's walking around with those spells on her all the time. She's the prepared one, right? Like she doesn't leave the house. Like she does her hair, she gets dressed, pours a cup of coffee, douses herself in spells, and then walks out the door.
I think that's a great way of looking at it. And I think you make a good point, too, because we've seen, and I'm assuming this is obviously not Hermione Granger in her first year. This is going to be Hermione Granger, like, fully realized, where we know that later on, you don't actually have to say the words to cast the spells. You can cast them with your mind.
Right.
And if you're well practiced, which I would say Hermione is, she's been through a lot of shit, just very quickly can cast Protego or whatever spells she wants. And we know that 11 does take a bit of a warm-up to get going. When it comes to using her spells, she has to focus. When she's in the element and the bloods are running out the nose, she can go down real fast. We've seen her do some pretty but she has to sort of like get it primed to the pump, and she has to get going to move to be able to do that sort of stuff. So I'd say in that moment, that gives Hermione an opportunity to be defensive or offensive, depending on how she wants to do it. Beth, what do you think?
This is a toss-up for me. Could go either way.
All right.
It was just either way.
It can go either way.
Beth wants to be very non-committal about it.
I mean, this is a game between two teams. I mean, it could be anyone's game. Who knows?
Well, the one thing though with 11 is she gets exhausted. Like she'll exhaust herself. Whereas I feel like Hermione may not.
That's a good point.
They even said someone made reference to 11 being like a battery. I don't know if that was season 2 or 4, but they were like, she loses her charge and she has to basically power back up. Yeah.
Right. Whereas I feel like Hermione doesn't have that same. So I'm going to go Hermione.
Interesting. I like it. I like a decisive answer to that. Yeah, I think that's a good point that 11 does have to recharge. Because the question here too is how effective are spells against 11? It probably depends on what kind of spells they are, because how much of her psychic powers can she use to deflect or block? But at the same time, like, I don't think telekinesis can block a polymorph spell, you know? Like if Hermione's like, you're a ferret now, and she turns into a ferret, you know, like.
Right. I mean, we've seen 11 counteract other telekinesis, force versus force, but is a spell, is what type of energy is coming out of the wand, right? Is it the same as the telekinetic energy, or is it some sort of other, I mean, I have to assume it's some sort of a mystic energy, right?
In order to not fall into the same trap that Marvel does in fights, I'm going to say it's two different things as opposed to being two same things. So,
okay.
I would assume.
How does Marvel fall into that?
Well, it's like they're you know, the most of the fights between the villain and the hero are usually just like they have the same powers, like Hulk versus Abomination. And Ant-Man, it's like Ant-Man versus whatever the fuck that guy was, the Hornet or whatever he was.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know, it's like a lot of that is kind of how it ends up. It's, you know.
Fair. Obadiah versus
Iron Man versus Iron Man. It's Shang-Chi is like 5 rings versus 5 rings in martial arts. Like it's kind of the common thing that happens with that. But I think I want to say that I think that the magic wand is a different property, and the speed at which people can cast is pretty quick. I mean, I would say it's pretty close to like drawing a gun, like in a Western, and firing, and how quickly they can make that stuff happen. Again, if we're talking like the arsenal, the things that are at Hermione's disposal, spell-wise, are incredibly, like, just, there's something for every situation. I mean, imagine if she does a mind spell, right?
Right.
Just completely wipes her mind. Like, she could do that real quick. She could
create something that changes the environment, like a reality spell, where all of a sudden 11's seeing, you know, demobats flying around her or whatever.
100%. She can obviously, if she wants to go real dark, just cast the death curse. And I don't know if 11 can block that.
That's true.
She could, torture her. She could do Imperio, Controller. Like, she gets off any number of these spells. Like,
you get it, Doug. You know all the spells.
I mean, there's Reducto. You know, there's Levi Corpus. I've just been rewatching these shows recently. There's Corpus Christi. There's there's all sorts of stuff. There's Wingardium Leviosa, not Leviosa, big difference. So she has so much at her disposal, and all she needs is a fraction of a second to pop it off. So, and Hermione is incredibly intelligent. Intelligent. We see she's a great problem solver. And 11 to me is a lot like Captain America in that she's got one note, which is smash. And that's not her fault, right?
11 also plays on tilt too.
Yes.
She can be emotionally compromised pretty like she gets she gives into her emotions.
She's very animalistic in that because that's how she was raised. She was raised essentially as a lab rat. So that's kind of what she knows. Now, to be fair, when she gets that rage up, destruction can follow. But again, she has to get there. And if, and not only that, I mean, are we saying Hermione can apparate? Because if so, just.
She doesn't even need a wand for that. That's real.
That's just mental. God.
I think I know what we're calling this one now.
Yeah, it's got to be Hermione.
That was the key for me. Yeah.
It's got to be Hermione.
All right, Hermione!
You know, it's really funny. When I thought about this earlier in the day, I'm like, oh, Hermione's fucked. Because I was just thinking the neck snap thing, but I was like, Now the more we broke it down, I'm like, it's got to be Hermione. It's got to be the way. This is the way, you know?
It is the way.
This is the way. That was awesome. So much fun. I feel like we could talk about this for hours. I feel like I have
more questions, so maybe I can come back.
Yes, of course you can come back. Absolutely. You're always welcome to come back.
We can do an in-person podcast when you come
We could do a quick one when we come hang out and we talk for hours. So this is the part of the show, Beth, where we do recommendations. So if there's something you've seen, something you've read, if there's music you've listened to, anything that you've got out there that you think people should check out, they can do that. You look frazzled, so I'm going to give you a second. I'm going to go to Justin first. Justin, what do you have to recommend for this week?
I'm going to take the easy way out here, and I'm going to say Stranger Things 4. If you are at this point and you have not watched it yet, well, joke's on you. But Stranger Things 4, give it a shot.
Okay.
No? Okay.
All right. I'll take it.
There's a new show on Apple TV Plus called Loot, and it is a fun show that Beth and I have been watching. It's still kind of getting its legs, but I do think it's fun. How best to put it? It stars Maya Rudolph. It's created by Maya Rudolph, Adam Scott, Ron Funches is in it, a few other people that you would recognize by face. Alan Yang, who is a writer and producer on Parks and Rec, created this with someone else. So it's in that vein of kind of like more nice comedy, workplace, actors that I love. So I think it's worth a watch. Don't expect it to change your life, but if you are looking for something to put on while you're cleaning, it is absolutely entertaining.
Wow, what a resounding thing. Hey guys, you want something? You want
all over the place.
You want something to watch while you're doing a chore? Throw this on. It'll be impactful. Like, gee, thanks. I will go next. I'm also gonna kind of take the easy road. Actually, this is a thank you to both you and Beth. I recommend the Adam Project. I watched that for family movie night with Natalie, and she loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yes.
And I loved it as well. That was totally a movie I saw a trailer for, and I was like, I'm good. I don't need to see it. But Justin recommended it, and I was like, I remember asking him, like, do you think that would be good for Natalie? He's like, dude, I don't know your kid. I don't know how I can recommend shit to your child. That's kind of a weird thing to ask. Please don't ever ask that again. And I was like,
That's what I said.
I was like, you know what? After thinking about it, I'm like, this could be fun. And honestly, I gotta say, there were some great moments. Like there's actually some great just like father-son moments in that, family moments. And in those moments, Natalie like turned and like pulled me down and kissed my cheek. It was like really beautiful. And she's like, Dad, I love you. I'm like, I love you too. Mark Ruffalo's a good dad. He's a good dad. He means well. Oh my God. But it was a lot of fun. Not a perfect movie, but it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. Very entertaining and heartfelt, and just a great movie. Like, definitely recommend it. It's on Netflix. Check it out.
Sweet. I'm so excited that you and I have talked about how we build up recommendation equity.
Yes.
And I love the fact that now I'm starting to build that with Natalie.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
Because I told her, I gave you credit. I go, Justin recommended this and I think it'll be fun, so we should check it out. And she's like, okay. So there we go. Beth,
you got something?
Do you got anything?
I do. I nerd out on some different things than the two of you. I am a huge fan of like renovations and things like that. And so there is these 9-minute, 10-minute videos on Magnolia Network called Beach Cottages. And they're these little short renovations or stories about how people have renovated homes close to the shore. So it's very well done. It's very easy, kind of like watching a wave hit the shore. So it's kind of got this easy breezy kind of quality to it. And I'm kind of digging that right now.
Nice. So would you say that if you were doing chores, is that something that you think you would throw on? And do you think that would benefit the show?
Maybe.
I think this one you might need to sit down and watch it.
Okay. All right. That's a level upgrade as far as I'm concerned then. If you have to sit down to watch it and not just do it while you're watching chores, then, Cool. Good to know. That's awesome. Very cool. Thank you for sharing. Great. Well, Beth, I want to thank you again for taking the time to hang out with us. This was great. I was
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I was so excited when Justin goes, Beth was like, has Doug watched Stranger Things yet? Because I need to talk to someone about it. I was like, this is awesome. He's like, we're going to have her on. I was like, yes, we should have her on the podcast. This is perfect. We should totally do this, which is super exciting. So we're so glad to have you back and all that jazz.
This was so much fun.
Yeah. So don't forget, gang, to check us out, us being Mind Gap, on all our social medias at Mind Gap Podcast. And please don't forget to like and subscribe, youtube.com/Mind Gap Podcast. If you like what we're doing here, it means a lot to us. It's free. It supports the show. It would mean the world to us if you would do that. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Mind Gap Podcast, merch, all that good stuff. And also do us a solid and, if you're listening to this on the audio side of things, rate and review. It helps us a lot. It means a lot. And check us out on Good Pods. That's something I'm trying to use a lot more. It's essentially like Instagram for podcasts, where you can see what other people, it's supposed to be for like indie podcasts, which, hey, that's us. You can see what other podcasts other people are listening to, kind of create a community. Check us out there. It'd be great to, have you can rate every single episode, which is kind of cool. Leave comments on every single episode, which is really nice. So it's kind of a cool app. I like it. And also don't forget to follow Justin online as well.
On Twitter and Instagram, it's going to be at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, make sure to check us out on Apple Podcast, Stitcher,
Good Pods,
Podbean, on all the other ones. Anywhere where you can find and consume quality podcast, you can find and consume us. And we'd like you to share and subscribe, rate, review, all those things. One of the big ones is sharing. So please let your friends know that we exist. And then keep an eye on all of 2 East 8's social medias, 2east8.com, and Love and Improv Film on Instagram. That is the Instagram account for our feature film, as we are barreling towards our start date on that. And if you are independently wealthy and would like to fund the film, please contact us and let us know that we have a wonderful investment opportunity for you. Beth, would you like to share social medias where people can find you, or no? Great. Wonderful. Doug,
listen, I feel bad. I made the assumption on that. I was right, but that wasn't cool. I should have asked.
No,
My apologies.
You were right. Yep.
I'm sorry. I was like, I don't think Beth wants to share, but hey, you should have. I should have let you make that determination. So anyway, with that being said, I want to say, Beth, thanks again for stopping by. You're the best.
Thank you. You
Thanks
guys are awesome.
Thanks for having us around. And with that said, I want to say, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
I want to say, chat, thank you.
Listeners, thank you.
And you all have a dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.